Have you ever been fully present for someone and still felt unseen? Your message gets read, but no reply comes back. You're sitting right next to them, yet their attention feels miles away. Often, we feel that being ignored isn't just silence. It's a quiet emotional noise, one that echoes louder inside than any argument ever could. Today, we're not here to analyze anyone like a case study. We're here to understand what happens inside a human heart when the person we love chooses distance instead of words. You may have noticed this too. When a stranger ignores us, it stings. But when someone we love does it, our mind starts to unravel. We begin asking questions we never planned to ask. Did I say something wrong? Am I too much? Was I ever truly important to them? Being ignored doesn't attack the heart first. It goes straight for our sense of worth. And that's where the psychology quietly begins. The human mind doesn't tolerate emptiness very well. When there is no explanation, we create one. Silence becomes a message. And most of the time, that message sounds like, "I'm not enough." This isn't just a passing thought. If repeated often enough, it slowly turns into belief. We start associating someone else's absence with our own value. But the truth is, silence usually reflects their emotional state, not our worth. Not all ignoring comes from cruelty. Sometimes people pull away because they feel emotionally overwhelmed. They don't know how to communicate discomfort. They avoid confrontation, or they are deeply confused themselves. But here is the quiet truth we often forget. The reason does not cancel the pain. Understanding psychology doesn't mean dismissing hurt. It means acknowledging that both can exist at the same time. Let's imagine Sarah. Every evening after work, she would sit with her husband and talk about her day. Nothing dramatic. Traffic, deadlines, exhaustion. First he listened. Then came distracted nods. Then his phone. Then silence. Sarah didn't argue. She didn't accuse. She simply started talking less. What hurt her most wasn't that he was busy. It was the slow realization that she felt invisible in her own home. Being ignored doesn't always come loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly and stays longer than expected. When we're emotionally attached to someone, their responses regulate our inner world. When they respond, we feel calm. When they don't, anxiety awakens. That's why being ignored isn't just emotional. It's physical. A tight chest, restless thoughts, a heavy feeling that won't leave. We often tell ourselves, "I'm being too sensitive." But sensitivity isn't the issue. Attachment is. After being ignored, the mind enters a loop. Maybe I texted too much. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I sounded needy. We start editing our natural emotions. We shrink ourselves without being asked. And slowly, we lose touch with who we were. Before silence taught us to be careful. Many people respond to being ignored by lowering their expectations, silencing their needs, over-adjusting to maintain peace. Often, we believe that patience will save the relationship. But psychology teaches us something uncomfortable. A connection that requires your silence will never fully hear you. Sometimes being ignored is an answer, just not the one we hoped for, and accepting that feels painful, because we often fall in love with potential, not reality. We wait for someone to become who we imagine they could be, while ignoring who they are showing us they are. If you're in this place, ask yourself gently, am I missing their presence? Or am I missing my self-respect? The question feels uncomfortable, but clarity often does. Healing doesn't mean becoming cold, or pretending nothing hurt. Healing means honoring your emotions, refusing to personalize silence, and remembering that your value doesn't depend on someone else's attention. We often believe we need closure to move on, but sometimes closure is simply accepting that not every silence comes with an explanation. If today you feel smaller because someone you love has gone quiet, remember this: your presence is real, even when it's not acknowledged. Your pain is valid, even when it's not understood. And maybe the person ignoring you isn't showing your lack of worth, but their lack of emotional readiness. Sometimes distance isn't punishment, it's protection. Because when you finally start listening to yourself again, someone else's silence loses its power.